What's up guys, it's Nogo here. If you want to submit your own VOD review, join my server down below and just follow the instructions that are pinned right here. For the first build, we're going to have a Gale user here, a curved user, and let's see how they play. So typically when you're on Gale, and they are going to be going against a Silent Heart Discreta, so really not much that can be said for them playing against a person other than you just got to parry better, because the Discreta person can only do basically two things, M1 or ankle cutter, and you'll see this person only does those things. He very rarely feints, very rarely uses Mani Caddy, and there's not much you can do. Just kind of assume. To just create it macro is really fast, so if you are fighting this, you just kind of have to assume they're gonna M1 you right away after you swing at them, and you just kind of have to just predict parry F. I know I do say it's better to react parry, but against light weapons, especially 0.9, you know what I'm saying, like, you need a really good reaction time, and I don't have that. Most people don't have that. So against light weapon, you kind of do have to predict parry sometimes. And although it does have chip damage, it has chip damage, but the lack of mantras makes it so if you continuously predict parry, they can very rarely punish you. Only if you predict roll, then they can punish you with Mani Caddy. But if you just predict parry against a Silent Heart and all they can do is just swing, usually you are fine unless you do ankle cutter behind your block, which we might see. So let's just go ahead and go into the gameplay here. They didn't land the taunt, I think. Oh, they missed it. Kind of unlike they didn't really chain the mantra in time there. Okay. Playing fun, but I will say that if you're on Gale, you need to be mantra feinting a lot. You can see they're trying to do what I call a miss swing feint, which is basically where they're swinging at the air. But on Gale, you want to be doing honestly a mix of this and a mix of a lot of mantra feints, because remember, Gale is the only attunement that actually gains a bonus from mantra feints, being that inhale buff, which is more damage. Well, not on curve technically, but for most part it is more damage, and also the speed buff and also the mix up. Gale feints are very good, with some of the best feints in the game. It just messes with people's senses a lot. So we're not seeing a lot of Gale feints. Like if you're going Gale, you got to be feinting a lot of your mantras. You got to do spam feint on your mantra. You should be feinting your mantras more than you're using mantras, honestly. That's unlucky there, where they did try to go for the predict parry there, and then they got punished because the player went behind their block. So you can see he just moves around behind them, roll canceled, and got that hit and the spine cutter there. So that's just kind of unlucky. It really is just reaction time. Like if you are going to predict parry, you got to make sure you really turn your camera to them. It is what it is. That's just, Silent Heart light weapon. Should have vented a bit earlier there. So they aren't going to be able to continue it though. Would have been a nice radiant kick. Radiant kick was on cooldown though. They're playing fine right now. Only their first inhale in a while. Like, remember, you got to be spamming inhale if you're on Gale. Lucky pun. They did try to get the Champions World Throw off to Mani Caddy. They missed it, unlucky. But definitely very good. If you are going to get Mani Caddy and you have a move that's really hard to even see or is just unparryable, it is good to use trying to use an instant guard break right out of the Mani Caddy once you directly leave it. Or give Ice Eruption, Ascension, Radiant Dawn. These are all also just 100% true as well, right after Mani Caddy. Yeah, a lot of this is really just, they're just not hitting the parries. Discreta is probably the hardest weapon to parry in the entire game, because it has the worst animation in the entire game, which is expected. You're hitting with your feet. So, the animation for something like that, obviously, is going to be pretty horrid. So, it's just practice. The more you fight Discreta, the more you'll learn to parry all this stuff. Now, if they had to do Discreta moves, they've been spared. Luckily, it's only Silent Heart, but Discreta, no, 2 minutes, that's something else to parry. Something else. Also, another thing is they're really just swinging back. Medium feints are one of the best feints in the entire game right now. If you fought a good, and I mean like a top 10 or top 50 medium user, their feints are crazy. Like they can feint and M1 you so fast that someone just goes past your block and you don't even know how. This is kind of a ping related issue because you can't even dodge in time, but yeah, they should be M1 feinting a lot more, especially since their curve has chip damage as well. They could be getting some nice chip, and even though it's not a lot, so adds up in the fight. And if they time it right, they could also just hit past your block entirely, and if they hit their block and go for something like a radiant kick as the other person tries to counter hit, and then boom, just get that free hit. Or any other move like Astro and stuff like that, those could work as well. So like right there, I would have said M1 feint, M1. They went for a different feint, which is called missing your swing entirely and then using a move, which is what they just did, because both aim to make them miss your parry. So just kind of both work, you know, different scenarios. Let's see if they get the hit off here, and they actually do get the hit off. So see here, miss parries, you know, they do work, but you also want to mix in a lot of M1 feints, M1 as well, or M1 feints to other things. But because they were not really using a lot of that, like they haven't used it, like we haven't M1 feinted once, right? So it's good to have a lot of mix-ups, because when you're fighting something like a Silent Hearts are probably the hardest players to break through and actually hit, because they only got to focus on like two things: M1ing and parrying. So if that's all they got to focus on, they don't got to worry about mix-up. They just got to swing back, and eventually it's going to hit you. Something's going to hit you, right? That's what the person Silent Hearts doing right here. So it is a lot harder to break through a Silent Hearts defense. So because of this, you got to really making up a lot of different feints, a lot of different things. So see, their taunt is off cooldown. They're not using taunt. Not sure why. Probably because I didn't want to deal with a higher damage than just Krita, which is fair. See, that was a good inhale there, and that's like, I think like the first time they actually hit something off that inhales, off and uninhale entirely. So again, you want to be inhaling a lot. If you're on Gale, you gotta be inhaling. I'll see that the spectrum meter is barely going up. Granted, they aren't landing that many. I just went through an accident. Again, they aren't landing that many Gale moves, but they should be also prioritizing just dodging instead of parrying more as well, just to get that meter up as well, get the spectrum meter up so they can actually combo with the Spectre Arrow, which is a very, very good aerial. You know, just for the dash, you want to stack your crit. Well, there. See, they got a lot of meter from that. That's really good. Hopefully they use their meter before the fight ends, but we'll see. Nice catch. It's close. Nice catch on the uppercut with the end leg. Also, another thing that you could do, it's kind of underrated. It's not really good. It would have like won the fight, but a lot of people don't know this. But when someone Manny caddies where their user was, so you see where they are right there, like they were right there. What this person should have done is they should have walked up to where, you know, these shadows are, these shadows right here, and they should have clicked T to spit on the shadow, because you can actually do any action you want when you're pairing Manny caddy. So what they should have done is gone for the spit on where they were last standing and get a free 2% heal. Now, this is not a lot, but if you're fighting someone who Manny caddies a lot, and I mean a lot more, it's than barely Manny caddy, because you don't really have to, you know, just create it. But you know, something like medium or heavy, they gotta use Manny caddy a lot more to try and get that damage off, because they can't really just swing back and just land a hit, right? So if they use Manny caddy, you can go get these free spit where they last were. They cannot punish this literally at all unless you have dead on you, then you know, obviously don't. But if you don't have dead on you, just go for this free spit. So you get the spit off, and then you also try and land the Champion's World Throw, which I think they're gonna do here. Do they try it? No, they don't go for the Champion's World Throw. It's fine. I don't think they'll work too much, so. And the Tristan is like just kind of out of Easter. It's quite unlucky. Golden Tongue would be quite nice here. Right there, they should have gone the spit off for free. They didn't. Would have been up 4% right now. And that, all the percentage, it adds up. Trust me, it adds up. If a lot of these fights go to sudden death, trust me, it does add up. Gonna get punished with the brain dead animations. They're gonna miss the currently Manny caddy, and it's gonna be, I think, game for them. Oh, not yet. Might come back. Another one. Alright, so rip. Alright, so now we're gonna give my final thoughts on this fight and what they should have done better overall. So I do understand it is just Krita, it is Silent Heart. It's really annoying to fight because they just swing, and it hits you, because it's just really hard to parry, right? And that's understandable, it's hard to parry. So on the defense side, honestly, it's just time on task. You gotta spend a lot more time fighting just Krita. Use it with the intent to really try and parry everything. Try to react parry as well. So your predict parries also become better when you get better at react parrying as well, right? So defense side, it's just, you know, it is parry issue. It's just parry issue, because all they can do is M1, right? So you should learn to parry that better. And also, they get caught a lot with an ankle cutter and then rolling behind their back, which is again a derivative of parry issue from the M1. But the main issue though is that their offensive side, they just didn't really play like a Gale user. If you're a Gale, you need to be monster feinting a lot. Otherwise, why did you even get inhale in the first place? Just reroll the card. I think they inhale, I think in total of 3 times. I could be wrong, but the fact that I can only say 3 times, even if it's maybe more, more is that they just didn't inhale enough. Like I should be saying like, oh, I saw so many inhales, that's great. They barely inhale. If you're on Gale, you gotta be inhaling a lot more. Inhale all your mantras. Gale Lunge inhale, pretty good, lasts pretty often. Get Astral Wind inhale, honestly inhale of any, maybe not Rising Wind, I don't think it's that good, but Heavenly Wind inhale too, if you want to be a bird jumping in the sky like Klebo, does that too. Another thing is their M1 back, so they use the M1, the miss swing feint instead of the M1 feint, I guess. So again, if you don't know, when you miss your M1 on purpose, like swinging behind you instead of at them, you bait their parry out, and they did actually land, I believe, an Astral Wind, or I think it might have been a Radiant Kick from that, which is pretty good. But M1 feint, if you fought, those Silent Heart medium users, when they M1 feint, it's pretty OP. The new feint chain is pretty strong. I don't see a single M1 feint M1 from this person on. They do have chip. Granted, the other person might have been, it is a bit of a ping diff thing. If your ping is really low, you don't really get hit by the M1 right after ever, but M1 feint M1, it's a Radiant Kick, does land pretty often in high elo. I see it a lot from guild users, right? The M1 feint M1. You also incorporate the miss swing as well. So if you're fighting a Silent Heart user, it's really hard to break your defense. You want to be using both miss swings, and you want to be using M1 feints, M1, things like that as well. Hopefully you guys learned something from this fight, and quite unlucky that they didn't even use Spectre mode a single time. Look at that, half bar, didn't use it once. Gotta be dodging more for Spectre. All right, next clip here is let me go ahead and make this full screen. It is a Lightning Drake Maw fist build versus a Storm's Lesson build. It's kind of a mirror matchup here. So what are we gonna do here at the start? We're gonna go with the Ascension, which is going to get them punished for free. So, okay, Ascension off of literally nothing, so just off rip, off nothing, is a really risky move. Most of the time, you're gonna get punished or nothing's gonna happen from it. Sometimes, very rarely, you do actually land it. But for the kind of like the risk reward, I wouldn't really spam Ascension off of just pure neutral, because if they have a long range move, or if they have like something like Matty Caddy, you're kind of just screwed, right? Another thing is they're not using Lightning Cloak here. So if you have Lightning Cloak, it's one of the best moves in the game. You have the Lightning Cloak to use it. Otherwise, why do you have Lightning Cloak, right? So what they should have done at the very start of the match when the timer went to 0 is use Lightning Cloak. If the opponent runs from it, then you know not to use Lightning Cloak and just kind of let them run so Lightning Cloak goes away. And then you only use Lightning Cloak in the final zone of the storm. If they don't run from it, they keep using Lightning Cloak each time it's off cooldown, because it's one of the best moves in the game. Giving you access to pre-nerf obfuscation, more swing speed with 0 downside. It's pretty busted. Felix, he is normal here. Lucky I'm on at the same time. Lightning Impact, cheese, nice. Okay, something I will say though is they're just kind of running from them. I'm not sure, like if you're Fist, you don't have range. You cannot be just running away from the opponent. You gotta be W keying towards your opponent, because right now they're just kind of running away. It is Storm's Last. Storm's Last is really oppressive, especially against Fist. That's why you have to really always be in their face. I mean, you do have Joke Grab to try and bridge that connection, but you gotta really be in their face a lot more if you're Fist. You cannot be running away. It's hard to win if you're running away, especially on Fist. You're gonna punch for free there. Oh, another thing is they should not have ragdoll canceled here, so I'm gonna play it a bit slow-mo here. It's right here. So you see how they got ragdolled right here, and then they went and ragdoll canceled right there, right before the hit. If you didn't know, you take less damage in the ragdoll state. So they could have saved 2% here. Now again, this is really minimal. It's not like a win or lose, but if they land a lot of Rising Thunders in a fight, it could add up. If they land 3 Rising Thunders, you could have saved yourself around 6%, which is a fourth of a bar. Maybe 10% after Rising Thunders doing crazy damage, which I think it is. So probably could save them like 10% total in the fight if it lands like something like 3 times, right? You get hit by Rising Thunder, do not ragdoll cancel. Stay in the ragdoll state, so you take less damage from the second hit. No normal here though. That was a good line right there, good connect. Too slow on the follow-up though. Oh, they're gonna vent the air there. That's kind of unlikely. They don't get punished though, but if you know your opponent has some sort of like move that puts them in the air, something like Heavenly Wind, Flame Leap, what else? Lightning Impact, not really Celestial Assault, but just a move that puts them in the air. They kind of use it to Radiant Dawn too, right? Radiant Dawn, you gotta be really careful with your vent, because Mace's event could be very bad. If that person there used Thunder Kick, person would have been just basically just decimated, right? So you gotta be very careful venting against people who have aerial moves. Let me go more in the face. This probably will land, right? Yeah, it's gonna land, but they're gonna be too slow to actually follow it up. Unlucky. They're gonna run from the clone, I think. Yep. This is when you should be running away. If you know you can't get a hit on them because it's pretty hard, then you should be running away from the Vision Shaper clone, because the Vision Shaper clones are probably one of the most oppressive mantras in the game. You can basically put like a bandit on your opponent. It's doing a ton of posture. Especially if you have guns, if you have an M1 cycle that just uses projectiles, you can just spam away because they refuse to nerf bullets. Oh. Guys, don't worry. They nerf Silver 6. It's all good. You're running away here. You need to hit on the electric carve though. That's good connect. Will they crit there? Nope, they're not gonna crit. That's gonna land though, nice. This should land too, because he jumped for no reason, nice. Not really a way to connect that. Maybe Grand Javelin a bit earlier there, but posture is just kind of crazy there. This person right there, it's just miss parry. There's a lot of miss parries going on right there, so. Again, no lightning cloak being used at all for some odd reason. That's a good connecto on the joke grab. Sensitivity is really high though. Probably gonna run away. Can't run in time. Getting hit by the lightning cloak, lightning impact. Kind of unlucky. If you're using Vision Shaper clones, you gotta you give some delay. You know when they're about to use it. You gotta get out. Get out, or you gotta know what you're doing to not be punished like crazy. Especially having an instant garbage like lightning cloak, and you're right there in their face. Just finish the Halo connector though. That's gonna hit them. Again, they ragdoll cancel. Do not ragdoll cancel in Rising Thunder. You take more damage if you ragdoll cancel. Won't do it. Made a video on that. Only OGs, OG nogo fans would remember this. Nice electric carve connect there. See, that was a good way to get rid of the Vision Shaper clone, is to use the move right when they're outside of their invisibility when the clone spawns. That's usually when they're about to be a lot on the offensive side and may not be ready to parry the move you're about to use on them, especially if it's a big AoE move that's kind of hard to see the wind above, which is something like Stormblades. Gonna get hit a lot there. Did not parry one of the Stormblades crit. And they are gonna die from that. So yeah, they take a lot of damage. And ew, yes, the Stormblade user saying ew. I mean, the person is Fist. I get it. But let's just kind of look back at the fight here and see what they could have done better. A lot of it, though, honestly, it is just really misparried. They didn't really parry that much, but also it's a bit of the playstyle as well. If you are going to play Fist, you need to be in their face. This person was not often in their face parry trading, basically at all. So if you're Fist, you got to be doing that. Did he get some lucky hits by running around and using like a move like Electro Carve or Rising Thunder or Stormblade and getting the crit? But again, it'd be a lot easier to fight if you're in their face, especially if you're Fist, because Fist is, by nature, hard to parry in an parry trade fight, especially if you have some good monsters, which they don't have Thunder Kick. I saw in their toolbar, they have no Thunder Kick. You never use Lightning Cloak, you might want to just replace that for Thunder Kick instead. And again, Thunder Kick is one of the best thunder moves in the game because of how consistent it is. So especially on light weapon. So this person probably should have, just have Thunder Kick. They could have definitely played a lot better, but only if you play for parry trades is Thunder Kick good. So again, this person in the clip, you got to be more in their face, where you got to W key a lot more, especially against rifle, and how maybe replace Lightning Cloak if you're never going to use it with something like Thunder Kick, because why have a mantra if you're never going to use it a single time in a fight, right? Especially you can Lightning Cloak. Another thing is that they vented the air. Happened, if the opponent has an aerial move, you try to be careful vented, really make sure they're on you, and try to vent before they make an action, so you don't take more damage than you wouldn't have if you vented earlier. Yeah, hopefully you guys learned something from this fight. If you're Fist, you gotta get in their face. And if you would like to submit your fight, just follow the instructions in the VOD review. I'll leave it down below. Yeah, fix the parry issue. Don't predict parry if it's light. GG. It's time on task. You want to get good, it's time on task.